Hey friends, Graham here from the recordingrevolution.com, and this morning I am in Starbucks hanging out with a bunch of people in my community, and I'm mixing an album this week. So if you haven't seen my video on the creativity switch, go watch that right now and you'll know why in the world am I mixing in Reason on headphones in Starbucks. So in today's video, what I want to show you is how you can get more pop, more life out of your drum loops. This can apply to anything, but I'm going to be using drum loops today specifically because let's say you got a drum loop that's the foundation of your rhythm section in your song and you can't break out the kick drum, the snare, overheads, whatever to EQ them. I want to show you a simple hack taking parallel processing that we've been able to use all kinds of ways, and I've shown you a bunch of those on the YouTube channel, on the blog, and how to use that on EQ on drum loops to get more life, more sizzle, more grit out of them, and still sound natural. This is really easy and really fun to do, so I'm going to show you how I'm doing it on my record today. So I've got a song here that's got a drum loop and a piano loop, and then everything else I've played pretty much. And it builds and builds and builds. What I want to do is I like that drum loop, and by itself it's not bad. Let's solo it. A good groove, it works. It's real natural. That's what I liked about it. It's like a guy playing a kit, and it's got a good groove for the whole song. But here's the idea. We can take the idea of parallel processing and emphasize certain frequencies, hype them a little bit to help us get a larger than life sound, all the while without affecting the original loop. And I'm going to do it in Reason, but you can do this in any DAW. This is really, really simple. All you want to do is create a copy of the drums multiple times. Depending on how your DAW does this, in Reason you can just literally right-click the track and do create parallel channel. There it is. So it literally made a copy. So over here, got the exact same thing on an independent channel. That's the idea. So the first thing I'm going to do is really bring out some sizzle in the top end on this parallel track. So I'll go up here in the mixer. I'm going to turn on the EQ. And I like the E-Series SSL. This is what this is modeled after because I'm used to that sound. And so here's just the top end shelf. I'm just going to play around with the top end. Right, little high pass filter, little shelf, 12 dB boost shelf on the top end at about 7K, 7.5K. So bringing out that sizzle, right? And a fly flying around me. That's on its own individual track. By itself, not very helpful, right? But the whole idea is that it's parallel, so it can be brought in conjunction with the original drums. So original drums, and then I'll bring in the sizzle track. Let's call this drums sizzle, or Dr. Sizzle. A little more brightness. If I take away the Dr. Sizzle track, as I've aptly named it, you lose some of that. Take a listen. Right, this is different than EQing on the actual track because I don't have a lot of control of the drum loop, so if I start to boost a lot of the sizzle on the actual track, I can only do but so much. This is going to allow me to have more out-of-the-box pop while keeping the realism of the loop. So that's one parallel channel. Let's do another one. I'm going to continue this, make a copy, create a parallel channel, and this just creates a parallel channel of the original. So now we have another one. And in this one, I want to hype the low end a little bit because I can't affect the kick drum. I can't compress it or EQ it by itself because it's in the loop. So I'm going to work on the low end on this parallel channel here. So what I'm going to do is insert the EQ and work on the low end. I'm going to roll off some top end first. And then I'm going to bring out some of that bottom. Make sure there's no low, mid stuff here I'm going to take out. And then what I might do is throw on a gate just to kind of try to get rid of some of the in-between hits, just because all I really want is the kick drum. So it's mostly just the pumping of the kick drum. So that, what I might do is compress it a little bit too, just a little bit here. A little more thumb, okay? And so that's a low end track that I can blend to taste, right? All by itself. Back to the beginning. I can take it away. Right, a lot more low end on its own individual track, and we'll call that Dr. Low or Drums Low. We'll do one more parallel channel to, since they don't have room mics. The great thing about room mics, if you track with them on a drum kit, is they have a lot of the energy of the room, and then what you can do is compress them. Like if you have an 1176 or a really fast compressor, slam the crud out of a room mic or a pair of room mics, and it brings this breathing and pumping into the drums. It's just super cool, super aggressive by itself, but you tuck that in under the rest of the tracks, and that's what makes a drum kit sound massive, right? With a lot of energy. So we're gonna fake that here. So we got this other copy. Let's make one more copy. Call it Drums Slam, Dr. Slam, affectionately. Let's solo that. So we have a copy again. All right, and now this time I want to really compress it. Compressor on, super fast attack, super slow release, or maybe the other way around. We'll play around with it, and let's try to slam this. Now, let's insert more gain into this channel. This is like a trim pot on a console. I kind of love it so you can drive the console hot, so I'm just going to crank up the gain. Dirty, gritty, massive bottom end, really awesome snare hit, because now you get some of that room is expanded. So then what I'm going to do is basically take that channel and I can blend that in with the crispy top end, super fat round bottom end, and now I've got this aggressive overall compressed version of the track by itself, right? So we'll solo these four. Right, adds a nice texture. So here's what we can do is we can take these three parallels and obviously you can blend them to taste just the way you want. I'm listening on earbuds in a loud coffee shop, so I really can't tell how perfectly blended these are, but I'm gonna group these as a group track. So route to new output bus is how they do it in Reason. I'm still getting to know this program, so I'm a little behind. So this will be drum parallel, or just drum group, drum bus. How about that? And in essence, you can see it now. These three tracks are outputting to the drum bus track here. So, which is beautiful because now I can turn up or down all of the parallel tracks with one fader. I can mute or solo all the parallel drum tracks on one fader. So it's really like my drum track and then the extra processing on a separate track. But again, none of this is actually affecting the real drum track, which is a huge point. So let's mute the drum bus. So here are the drums by themselves. Even though you're seeing these three tracks, you're not hearing it because they're outputted through here. Right? You're just really hearing the original drum loop. And then I'm going to press play, and I'm going to bring in the parallel tracks all together with this button, or this button. Obviously, way louder. We're added 3 more copies of the drums. So there's a couple things going on here. One, we can dial this down now on a fader and blend it to taste. And what you get is a more aggressive, real, mixed drum sound without really crushing or reducing the life out of the original drum performance, which is great when you have drum loops because they can sound good, but a lot of times they're too squeaky clean, and this can bring out some of that pop. So in the mix is all that really matters. So let's unsolo everything and let's have the mix here. And what I'm gonna do is bring in the drums, parallel drums, so you can hear the difference. Right? Massive difference. Drums pop, more weight, more crispness, but all relatively still musical because we haven't really done it to the actual drum track. It's all parallel. Now, and then the beauty of all of this is you have 1, 2, 3 faders to customize that mix to your liking of the sizzle, the low, the slam, the distortion, whatever you want to do. You can do a mid-range, boost, or cut, blend it all to taste. And then even then I can blend all of that processing on one single channel to the real drums themselves. And even then you can do this not just statically throughout the song as if that's the final sound. You could bring up the parallel processing in the choruses to make it pop even more and then tuck it down a little bit in the verses or whatever. A million possibilities. Just taking the concept of multing, some people call it, or parallel processing to drum loops can really enhance your sound if that's what you're working with. In GarageBand, Reason, any DAW, take a loop and take it to the next level with some parallel processing. Hope they give you some ideas to think about. I'm going to go back to mixing my record today here as best I can and see if this works. But again, check out the Creativity Switch video if you want to know why I'm doing this. Give you a good idea, might give you a challenge, something to think about, something that might challenge you to get your creative juices flowing and have more fun in the studio, which ultimately this is all about. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing to the videos. Head over to the mailing list if you want more mixing, recording content free to your inbox all the time. Thanks, guys. Take care.